really played well. So if Britain don't win this match, it is very unlikely they will reach the semi-finals. So the stakes are high, expect it to be both hard fought and technically superb. Once again, not too hot, but the humidity very high. And it's a big pitch for seven-a-side teams with no offside rule. So it's a physical examination, there's no question about it. All the slick passing of the Ukrainians, such a feature really over more than a decade, be too much for the British defence? Or can they cause the upset? With Brazil to play Ireland later. It looks like Ukraine and Brazil, big favourites to progress to the semi-finals and play for the medals. If Britain want to change that pattern, they have to do something about it today. And the experience of the Ukrainians and their technical ability is something to behold. A terrific team, they've been drilled over years and years. So it's a crucial day for this great British side after that defeat to Brazil in their opening match. Brazil started much the better. Britain came back into it, grew in confidence. That wasn't a problem for Ukraine. They were supreme against Ireland. Scored 6 times. The captain, ANTONIUK, got a couple of goals. KRASYLNYKOV, 2 terrific strikes with his right foot. Britain will be very wary of that. Ukraine, the big gold medal favourites. They and Russia, the 2 teams to beat in seven-a-side football, and with Russia not allowed to compete, leaves Ukraine out alone, really. They've been in the final of the Paralympic seven-a-side football in each of the last 4 games. Champions in 04 and 08. And expected to go all the way once again. David Porcher scored Britain's goal against Brazil, which gave them hope. And they had their chances to get an equaliser, but couldn't take them. The anthems before we start: Great Britain first, and then Ukraine.
Gentlemen, the anthem of Ukraine.
Senhoras e senhores, o hino da Ucrânia.
Both teams looking relaxed and ready. And they know each other well, these two sides. They met in the pre-Paralympic tournament in Spain in May, when Great Britain took the lead. Ended up beaten by 3-1. But missed a penalty in the first half of that game as well. So they'll feel that they've run Ukraine close. But on the big stage, very few teams have been able to live with the Ukrainians now over a long period of time. Paulo Volpato leads a refereeing team that is 3/4 Brazilian and 1/4 from Spain. Michael Barker, who has got the captain's armband for Great Britain today.
Número 1.
Goalkeeper Giles at 2.
Número 2.
Liam Irons at 4.
Número 4.
Matt Crossen 6.
Número 6.
Emyle Rudder 7.
Número 7.
How busy will Konstantin SYMASHKO be in the Ukraine goal? Didn't have a great deal to do against Ireland in their opening match.
David Porcher.
There's the Great Britain team, and it shows two changes from that narrow loss to Brazil. Emyle Rudder, the number 6, is in for Martin Hickman, and Sean HIGHDALE replaces Jack Rutter, who had captained the side in that opening match.
4.
Número 4.
Taras 7.
Número 7.
Vitaliy
Rutter then
ROMANCHUK
amongst
9.
the Great British substitutes.
Dmytro MOLODTSOV at 11.
Número 11.
Volodymyr ANTONIUK.
No great surprise that the Ukrainian team is unchanged
KRASYLNYKOV.
after that 6-0 win over Ireland. There wasn't much wrong with their performance that day, and they are well capable of turning it on.
So for those of you new to Paralympic football, 7-a-side, a few changes to the rules.
Podolski and Szkralo were among those used
Williams may be taking
as substitutes in that Ireland match.
pitch. Slightly smaller than standard, as are the goals.
Starting place for Emyle Rudder.
15 minutes for
ROMANCHUK was among the goal scorers against Ireland. The preparations are done. It's mostly in the hands of the players now. 19-year-old goalkeeper Giles. SYMASHKO at the other end is 35 at his 3rd Paralympic Games.
all of us here at the DUTKO Stadium, let's get behind your side. Who's shouting for Great Britain?
Took 3 goals before he smiled, the Ukraine coach, against Ireland. He was happy in the end.
Are you ready, Rio, to get this game underway? Let's count it in. Together from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's play!
Well, it really is must-win for Great Britain, this in Pool A, against the European champions from Ukraine, who were so impressive against Ireland. Will they demonstrate their technical ability once again? Or can the Great British side as underdogs provide a challenge? British side much the younger. Only one player of 30 years of age in the entire 14-man squad. Well, Ukraine only have one player under 30 in their starting 11 here. And that's this man, KRASYLNYKOV. Super tackle. And Ukraine moving forward at pace already here. No offside, remember, in 7-a-side football. So ANTONIUK quite within his rights to take up that position right by the goal line. And they will look to stretch the British side with the passing. Use all the space that's available to them. Seven-a-side football at the Paralympic Games for athletes with cerebral palsy, those who've suffered a stroke or had a brain injury. And they're classed between 5 and 8. 5 the most impaired, 8 the least. You're only allowed one Class 8 player on the field at any one time, but you have to have one in Class 5 or 6 on the pitch all the time. For Great Britain, their Class 5 is Giles, the goalkeeper. Class 8 is Sean HIGHDALE. Oh, and Moore. Oh, what an awful moment for him, and he didn't realise that the Ukrainian forward was right behind him. And they still might not escape Great Britain. And HIGHDALE came in to try and calm things down for them. What a scare for Giles Moore in the British goal. But Rudder with the ball forward, it's a good one too. And Porcher with the ball in. SYMASHKO to the rescue. Well taken by CROSSEN. Here's Rudder. Well, this is quite the thrilling start. Rudder. Well, he drilled it in. MOLODTSOV made the block. At one end, Moore an awful moment. At the other, SYMASHKO a flying save. Well, that was only the beginning of it. He didn't realise the defender was, the attacker rather, was right behind him. British corner. Over Barker's head, and TRUSHEV is there for Ukraine. Thumped clear by Taras DUTKO. Irons' header was a good one. Here's PORCHER, who scored the British goal against Brazil. But KRASYLNYKOV with the challenge. Irons with the ball through, looking for PORCHER. Intercepted by ROMANCHUK, who was then robbed by HIGHDALE. HIGHDALE with the dummy, that's Rudder. Simple enough for SYMASHKO. PORCHER is a forward who likes to complain when the ball doesn't come to him, and that was the case there. KRASYLNYKOV, oh, that's lovely. And unusually, ANTONIUK couldn't take the pass. But we've seen already in the first 4 minutes that neither side is going to hold back today. And if the entertainment continues in this manner, then we're going to be in for a cracking game. 30 minutes each way. Coaches allowed up to 3 substitutions. HIGHDALE looking for the run of Matt CROSSEN. This is MOLODTSOV, or rather DUTKO, for Ukraine, who's their Class 8 player. ANTONIUK kept away by Irons. Well, given away by DUTKO, unusually, and Great Britain have a 2-on-1 here. CROSSEN towards PORCHER, and he's overplayed the pass. Just one to aim at in the centre, and I'm afraid for Great Britain's sake that they rather botched that. CROSSEN's pass too far in front of PORCHER, and a golden opportunity goes begging there. Relief for Ukraine. And a very rare misplaced pass by Taras DUTKO, the number 4. At his 5th Paralympics is what set that counter-attack in motion. There's KRASYLNYKOV, whose 2 goals against Ireland. I would urge you to try and look up if you have the opportunity to try and find highlights of that particular game. They were terrific. Irons with the pass forward. Here's PORCHER for Great Britain in the white. PORCHER is very swift, only 19 years of age. Michael Barker, who was once on the books of the Premier League club Everton. CROSSEN couldn't keep the ball in. You'll see players using one arm to roll the ball in. That's clearly permitted, but some will also use the two arms behind the head in the way that we'd see in 11-a-side football. HIGHDALE got in quickly there for Great Britain in front of MOLODTSOV. Here's ANTONIUK, Ukraine's skipper. MOLODTSOV to KRASYLNYKOV. Bit of space for Ukraine number 13, and Irons had to be clean with the handling there, and that will give him confidence. Giles Moore. MOLODTSOV made a strong challenge. You wouldn't say that either side had established a clear advantage just yet. Both sides have carved out chances. With a little more care, both sides might have had an even clearer sight of goal. Both goalkeepers have been called into action. Here's DUTKO looking forward towards ANTONIUK. Away by Barker. Little touch by CROSSEN. HIGHDALE was dispossessed by Dmytro MOLODTSOV, and here's KRASYLNYKOV. And Ukraine have four forward here, and KRASYLNYKOV was clipped, but the referee said play on. It wasn't a foul, and Great Britain inclined to counter here with PORCHER and CROSSEN in the centre. PORCHER looking for CROSSEN, and you could see what he was trying to curl the ball into the path of the British number 4. It's a difficult pass to execute. Now KRASYLNYKOV certainly feels that he was taken down here, and I'm inclined to agree with him. I think Ukraine should have had a free kick there. That was the handling by Moore, and it had to be precise with ROMANCHUK looking to pick the pieces up. He's a big threat going forward, Artem KRASYLNYKOV. Britain very fortunate they did not concede a free kick right on the edge of their own penalty area. Barker with the header away. Volodymyr ANTONIUK at his 4th Paralympic Games. 2 gold medals, 1 silver, 15 years in the national team. PORCHER really well watched by TRUSHEV, who knew what he was going to do to look back onto that left foot. After the really fast tempo of the opening minutes, perhaps both sides in need just of slowing it down a touch if they can. DUTKO is in a game, marking the much younger man, PORCHER. 15 years his junior, in fact. DUTKO is 34, PORCHER 19. HIGHDALE looking for him early there. PORCHER wasn't quite alert to the intention. But Great Britain are holding their own here against Ukraine. Here's Emyle RUDDER. Crowd always love a little bit of skill. Well read by Barker, and he's gone on. CROSSEN elected to lay it back to HIGHDALE, and a switch of play to RUDDER here. 2 in the centre, and Barker was still forward. KRASYLNYKOV stayed with his run well. This is Antoniuk. Romanchuk is with him. This is Romanchuk. And the tackle was well timed. And CROSSEN helped out for Great Britain. They're well aware of the dangers that Ukraine pose on the counter. The pass into Romanchuk was a really good one from his captain. Late tackle by Romanchuk was penalised there, as CROSSEN played the ball away. He just got clattered on the left side. But the weight of pass was excellent. HIGHDALE's tackle wasn't a bad one. Well, this has got the makings of a really terrific game, I think. Really entertaining first 12 minutes. A long way still to go. CROSSEN. TRUSHEV again. Using all his experience there. HIGHDALE to PORCHER. Barker. Irons into HIGHDALE again. Switch of play to Rudder into the space. It's just an awkward one. But I think Keith Webb, the British coach, will be pleased with the passing from the team in white. Romanchuk. KRASYLNYKOV taking runners with him, taking markers with him. Romanchuk goes on. HIGHDALE again seemed to make a little bit of contact, but not enough for the referee, and PORCHER has been penalised, I think, for pulling back DUTKO. Well, DUTKO might have been second favourite in a foot race there, hence the aggravation on the face of David PORCHER. Irons with the ball down the channel, but there was a little pullback first by PORCHER. Yeah, it was well spotted by the referee. KRASYLNYKOV, that's a lovely ball towards Antoniuk. Dmytro MOLODTSOV. Back to DUTKO. KRASYLNYKOV. TRUSHEV has drifted forward on this near side. Here's MOLODTSOV. Now Antoniuk. Who will he pick out here? The Ukraine skipper. He's waiting. TRUSHEV's on the edge of the penalty box. Antoniuk thought he might be able to score himself. Sense the expectation rise in the stadium when Ukraine start moving the ball around on the edge of the penalty box. Now KRASYLNYKOV has a cannon with that right foot. Here's TRUSHEV into Antoniuk. Britain is stretched here. Back it goes to TRUSHEV. Ukraine really menacing for the first time. A sustained period of pressure here. DUTKO electing to go right back to the goalkeeper and reset things. I'm not sure Great Britain will be too sad about that. Barker won a good header. MOLODTSOV though for Ukraine. Halfway through the first half, no goals, beguiling contest. Here's Taras DUTKO. KRASYLNYKOV, well, he has terrific power. To score from that range in a goal that size, fairly low percentage, but if anybody can, it might be that man, KRASYLNYKOV. Well, HIGHDALE seemed to lead with the arm there, and he's been penalised for that. Neatly headed down by Romanchuk. ANTONIUK back to Romanchuk. Irons is the defender. Romanchuk has beaten him. Danger here. Well, Giles Moore had the near post covered just in case. I think Irons got back at Romanchuk just in time to put him off, or at least leave him slightly off balance. Ukraine have had the better of the last 5 or 6 minutes, no doubt about that. Here's ANTONIUK. They're growing in confidence. Not that they would have been short on it to begin with, Ukraine, with a number of medals they've accumulated over the years. Turned by Romanchuk. Irons showing his adhesive quality, sticking to his man. MOLODTSOV lifting it towards KRASYLNYKOV. MOLODTSOV, the number 9, is in the centre, so too Romanchuk. On the near side, ANTONIUK. KRASYLNYKOV electing just to drill it and see whether he could induce some doubt from the defence, and he nearly did. ANTONIUK, it stayed in. MOLODTSOV back to KRASYLNYKOV. TRUSHEV on the edge. He seems intent, doesn't he, on playing the ball in with pace. TRUSHEV away from CROSSEN. ANTONIUK. Great Britain a little anxious. TRUSHEV. KRASYLNYKOV. Still TRUSHEV. Blocked by Irons. MOLODTSOV in there. KRASYLNYKOV's header wide. But they're really pressing now, Ukraine, in impressive fashion. KRASYLNYKOV quickly in. They're looking bright and bubbly. The early pass towards Romanchuk. All of a sudden, every British tackle feels a little bit last ditch. MOLODTSOV. Now Romanchuk. DUTKO lifts it forward. ANTONIUK has found the space. Romanchuk in the centre. It's a beautiful pullback, and MOLODTSOV missed the strike. KRASYLNYKOV, TRUSHEV, MOLODTSOV a second chance. CROSSEN was in to close him down. And PORCHER now will lead the counter-attack. And goalkeeper is there. HIGHDALE came in bravely amongst the flying boots. Pass into ANTONIUK. KRASYLNYKOV dictating things, really. TRUSHEV back to MOLODTSOV, into Romanchuk. It's a super turn. And they're getting closer and closer, Ukraine. Feels like a matter of time at the moment. Passing is slick. The turn was a good one. He got power but not the accuracy. Just over 8 minutes to half-time. No goals yet. Great Britain starting well, but Ukraine in the last 10 minutes have been superb. And Antoniuk is away from irons here, who has to be careful. And Antoniuk frustrated that he couldn't hit the target. And Ukraine haven't made Giles Moore work as much as perhaps they should have done in the last few minutes. Really good chance. Nudge in the back by HIGHDALE. Fouls are accumulating from a British perspective. MOLODTSOV just in front of ROMANCHUK. And they've been very accurate with their passing. Great Britain will be relieved just to take a few seconds to reset. They've done a lot of chasing of the ball over the last 10 minutes. Great Britain will hope for a period where they can keep possession and make Ukraine do a bit of the running, but it's the men in blue who are on top here, clearly. MOLODTSOV. Oh, it's a super pass right in front, and Moore produced a brilliant save. ROMANCHUK cannot believe he hasn't scored the opening goal. The pass went into him right in front of goal. He's in a glorious position, and it's a marvellous save. ROMANCHUK again looking to make amends, and Moore played that against the Ukrainian's foot. The referee was pointing goal kick, the assistant referee said corner, and the referee has overruled the assistant. Well, the British goalkeeper Giles Moore, who was the goalkeeper of the tournament a couple of years ago at the European Championships, which Ukraine won. They rate him very highly, the British camp, and he's showed why with that save from ROMANCHUK a couple of minutes ago. But he might have more work to do. Antoniuk, ROMANCHUK. Antoniuk is waiting for it. Here he is! Superbly finished by the Ukrainian captain. And it's a lead they deserve. Slick passing, and finally the finish. And it's Great Britain 0, Ukraine 1.
Captain Volodymyr Antoniuk.
ROMANCHUK just waited, and Antoniuk held back. And with the left foot found the precise finish into the near corner. Just threatened to shoot. HIGHDALE was drawn towards the player with the ball. Nothing more could do this time. Antoniuk's third goal of the competition. Four minutes to half-time. Huge test for Great Britain, who will feel if they don't win this match, their chances of getting to the semi-finals are gone. Battling with ROMANCHUK, won a good header. HIGHDALE finding Rudder, He's not seen much of the ball in the last 15 minutes or so, but then no British player really has. CROSSEN. KRASYLNYKOV has had another terrific game for Ukraine, number 13. Here's Liam Irons. Now PORCHER for Great Britain. Ukraine just content to sit back for a while and see if they can absorb some pressure. HIGHDALE did that nicely. Ukraine had just closed them down effectively there. Was forming a square around the ball. Every man was marked. And eventually they've won it. And this is ANTONIUK, ROMANCHUK up with him. MOLODTSOV arriving. This is DUTKO Taras. DUTKO. Good clearance by Irons. DUTKO once again. Great Britain look tired. Can't blame them. Here's DUTKO once again. Second goal for Ukraine before half-time would be a huge confidence boost for them. Big blow to Britain's morale. You sense Britain would take the 1-0 scoreline at half-time right now. Britain made a pretty positive start, but now the stats read Ukraine 13 shots to Britain's 1. Irons with some calm defending, away by CROSSEN up towards PORCHER. More often than not, he's battling on his own against a couple of defenders. They pass the ball so well, Ukraine, and their movement is so good. It sometimes feels as if you're looking against a team that's got an extra player. DUTKO fires it up towards ROMANCHUK. In comes ANTONIUK. He's thinking about the shot here. He's got it away. Giles is keeping the score down at the moment. Heading right into the top corner. Into added time at the end of the first half. Ukraine really good value for their 1-goal lead. Keith Webb is going to have a real job on his hands, the British coach, to reinstill belief into this team. You've sensed it ebbing away over the last 20 minutes as they've been outplayed by the European champions and the twice Paralympic champions. ROMANCHUK. Back to TRUSHEV. Can they create one more chance in this first half? Well, that might be the end of it. Giles has made a couple of superb saves to keep the score as it is. Very good first half from Ukraine. They put 6 goals past Ireland in their opening match. They've only got the 1 so far from that man ANTONIUK. He's third of the competition. But in the last 20 minutes of that opening period, they looked a class above Great Britain, who faded after a promising start. It's Great Britain 0, Ukraine 1 at half-time. The Ukrainians are a terrific side to watch when their passing gets going, and they make the pitch big and they are difficult to defend against. They pass the ball quickly. They have an intuitive understanding of where one another is moving to, built up over years of playing together. And Volodymyr Antoniuk, at the age of 37, at his 4th Paralympic Games, 15 years in the national team, I guess he's the embodiment of that. Goal scorer on 25 minutes. And it was well worked, wasn't it? The threat coming from so many different angles, I think Great British heads were just a bit scrambled by that point. And he was well found by ROMANCHUK on the edge of the box and able to finish from 10 meters or so. Great Britain had started with considerable intent. Emyle Rudder had an effort saved. But it was one-way traffic for the last 20 minutes or so. It's difficult to imagine Great Britain turning round this contest to the extent they would need to win the game. Because winning, it's really what they all need if they want to reach the semi-finals. They say goals change games, so who knows what might happen if they did find that equaliser. ROMANCHUK started to cause problems, the number 7. Picking up the ball in really advanced positions, testing the British defence. That was a super pass from MOLODTSOV right into ROMANCHUK, and that was the save of the half, really, by Giles Moore. ANTONIUK had found ROMANCHUK and then back to the Ukraine captain. And the finish was superb. Just waited until the defence had been drawn towards the ball and then calmly with the outside of that left boot beat the goalkeeper. It was just rewards really for some super football, and they could have had more. That was heading right into the top corner before Giles Moore made a diving save. Yeah, Michael Barker well aware of just how difficult the job is against a terrific Ukrainian team. Half-time score then, it's close on the scoreline, but Ukraine feel far superior at the moment. Can Britain make any inroads in the second half? It's Great Britain 0, Ukraine 1 at the interval. Well, the players beginning to emerge from the changing rooms for the start of the second half. And are Great Britain going to ring the changes at half-time? It does appear that that will be the call from Keith Webb, with James Blackwell and Jack Rutter preparing to come on. Rutter's presence would indicate that Sean HIGHDALE will come off at half-time. The only two Class 8 players, or two of the three Class 8 players in the squad. You can only ever have one of those on the field at any given time. It's hard work for Michael Barker and co, for Giles Moore in the British goal. And a couple of really good saves, one in particular from ROMANCHUK. And the Ukrainian striker was past the ball, what, 4 or 5 meters out, right in the middle of the goal, and Moore came speeding out to spread himself. So lots of work for Great Britain to do in the second half here at the Diodoro Stadium. And a double change from coach Keith Webb. Double change is going to take place before Ukrainians have even come back onto the field. There's Jack Rutter. 30-year-old James Blackwell, the oldest member of the British squad, will also come on. Making an alteration, they're taking off the captain and the goal scorer, Volodymyr ANTONIUK, at half-time. Ole Len is going to come on for his Paralympic debut. Wasn't involved in their opening match. One wonders if ANTONIUK must have picked up an injury in that first half. He was at the heart of a lot of the good things that Ukraine were doing. Well, a really big half hour for the Great British team coming up against the European champions and twice Paralympic champions from Ukraine, who have the one goal and could have had more in the first half. They dominated. Two changes by the British coach Keith Webb during the interval. Jack Rutter and James Blackwell have replaced Sean HIGHDALE and Emyle Rudder. And Ole Len is on for Ukraine in place of the captain, Volodymyr ANTONIUK, who we assume must have picked up an injury during the first half of 30 minutes. Ukraine with 3 points from their opening match, 6-0 win over Ireland. Great Britain beaten by Brazil by 2-1. Rutter just left Ole Len on the floor. The referee elected to play on, and here is Len for the first time. Looking for ROMANCHUK. It was so difficult to pick up in the first half for Great Britain. Well, it's the first indication from Ukraine that they're going to cause more problems for Great Britain in this second half. control from Romanchuk, and the turn and the pass weren't bad either towards Ole Len. Spectacular control from Romanchuk from the long pass. It just won't give you much, the Ukrainian team, technically. There was a mistake early on from DUTKO, a rare one, which Britain nearly exploited. But it's hard to think of them putting a foot wrong since. They're expert technicians. Matt CROSSEN's got a few skills in the tank as well, though. Hit the inside of the post against Brazil with a free kick in the opening match. The British number 4, CROSSEN. There's the touch from Romanchuk. It was just splendid. The run of Len was actually well tracked by James Blackwell. That was one reason that Great Britain didn't face another shot on goal there. But it's the speed at which things happen from Ukraine. And when the first touch is good, everything can happen that much more quickly, and the defence can be put under that much more pressure. The yellow cards to CROSSEN. Well, here goes CROSSEN now, and he's going to strike it, and the rebound, an equaliser. Michael Barker came running in to score. They spent so long in the first half chasing the ball. But the spill from SYMASHKO and Michael Barker has equalised for Great Britain. You'd have to say against the run of play. But CROSSEN's driving run set it up. And Barker kept his cool and kept it down. And keeps Britain's chances alive. Well, that's a twist that if you watch the first half, you might not have been expecting. CROSSEN, to his great credit, was not put off in any way by receiving the yellow card. Got on with it, and indeed made the crucial burst. That will be a corner to Ukraine, though, as Blackwell chased back. Tug of the shirt there by PORCHER, and that was quite deliberate. He'll be fortunate to escape a yellow card for that, I think, with Romanchuk moving towards the penalty area. I think that's the right call from the referee. For both PORCHER and Matt CROSSEN, it's their first yellow cards at the competition. If you do collect 2 in the group stage, there's a 1-match suspension for you. It's fairly cynical from the British number 9. KRASYLNYKOV with the free kick. Well, the call is well done from the British defence, but maybe it was just a matter of keeping the Ukrainian attackers away from that ball. Barker was quick enough to react, and he kept it down. What a moment for the British team. They know how good Ukraine are. And they know how difficult it was in the first half when Ukraine just played terrifically for 20 minutes or so and passed them off the park. The scoreline doesn't really reflect that, Ukraine will say. They had 14 shots to Britain's 1 in the first half. But in the end, there's only one stat that counts. Here's Porcher, or Jack Rutter returned well, and he was taken down by MOLODTSOV. Referee Mr. Volpato from Brazil is not taking too much in the way of complaints and talking back. Rutter was trying to talk MOLODTSOV into the book. Barker trying to take up that awkward position right out in front. Oh, but it was really good handling this time by SYMASHKO. That was drilled in beautifully by Rutter. He struck that, so it fizzed across the grass. It's an excellent piece of goalkeeping. Really fizzed, that skimmed in, didn't it? And Barker just hoping to react quickly enough to get a touch. Didn't have the opportunity to turn poacher this time. And MOLODTSOV did well to block the outlet pass. KRASYLNYKOV looking for ROMANCHUK here! And the rebound is a brilliant block on the line. Irons got in the way for Great Britain. MOLODTSOV was taken down. No, there's no foul. Maybe a counter-attack. Blackwell just went too far with the ball in the end. Well, that felt for all the world like Ukraine were going to go back in front. DUTKO showed a lot of the ball to the defender, but it's ROMANCHUK now. Oh, he's picked out the pass. And that should have been 2-1. Golden chances accumulating now for Ukraine. Are they just wondering if it will be their day? The perfect pass by ROMANCHUK, and it was Ole Len, the substitute, who really should have scored. This was the chance shortly beforehand. Irons initially did well to get out the way of it and then blocked terrifically from the follow-up. KRASYLNYKOV for Ukraine. There's another super pass. MOLODTSOV in space. Oh, and now even more. And blocked on the line once more. And this time it's Porcher who twice got in the way. How on earth is it still 1-1? KRASYLNYKOV, this time perhaps. Giles Moore is saying to ROMANCHUK, you stood on my foot. It's beautifully worked by MOLODTSOV. Good save by Moore, and then Porcher in the way. Not once, but twice. CROSSEN for Great Britain. Well, I guess they have to keep going for it. Irons with Romanchuk. Romanchuk was faster. Irons timed the slide well. He's lost a boot. And he's lost the decision as well. It's gone to Ukraine. Now, well, it had done from the assistant referee, but the referee has stepped in to give Great Britain a free kick. What a battle it is. Fierce concentration from both sides. Ukraine should be in front. The number of chances they've had just dwarfs the number Britain have had. But you admire the spirit in the British camp and the skill as well, because they're playing one of the, if not the best side in the world here in Ukraine. Romanchuk, who I'm sure can't believe he hasn't scored personally. And it goes to Len. Forward by KRASYLNYKOV into MOLODTSOV. Forward by DUTKO. Here is Romanchuk again. Irons are stuck gamely to the task. Not an easy task against a player as elusive as Romanchuk. So we're past the midway point of the second half, and it's all to play for in Pool A at the Diodoro Stadium. Ukraine with a greater number of chances, but Britain with an equalising goal from Michael Barker. Here is KRASYLNYKOV. Ole Len, away from CROSSEN. Oh! And it struck Irons. And where did it strike him? It struck him on the arm, according to the referee. That's why he's showing the yellow card and he's pointing to the penalty spot. Well, Irons was a little fortunate not to concede the own goal. The devilish ball in by Len, and that's why the referee's given the penalty. And Len was celebrating. Well, I'd be surprised if anybody in the tournament hits the ball as hard as KRASYLNYKOV can with that right foot. Artem KRASYLNYKOV for Ukraine. 2-1. Low and into the corner. Calmly dispatched. And they're back in front, the European champions. Just no fuss, it's right in the corner. No hope for Giles Moore. And now Britain must find another equalising goal. Well won by KRASYLNYKOV from CROSSEN. Len running down the centre, and he's the intended target, and he's got there, and Irons was right there on the line again. Well, I know Great Britain are behind, but they could easily be out of sight. That's 3 goal line clearances in the second half. Some of the defending has been extraordinary, but they're hanging on in there. Rutter into Barker. Good turn by Barker. Well, he's gone from central defence to centre forward. Michael Barker. As Britain look to get an extra man up there to support David Porcher. And he's been a useful target. There's KRASYLNYKOV with the lovely weighted pass into Len. Just couldn't quite get to his feet in time. ROMANCHUK against Irons again. In it goes to Len. MOLODTSOV. Here's KRASYLNYKOV. Penalty goal was his third of the competition as well, KRASYLNYKOV. So he, along with his captain ANTONIUK, are the leading scorers so far in the 7-a-side football. Barker won a good header there. Now Porcher. MOLODTSOV was there. It's Ollie Nugent who's going to come on for Great Britain. So it has to be Jack Rutter who comes off. Class 8 for Class 8. All of the athletes have a coordination impairment of some sort. Class 8 the least impaired, Class 5 the most. You can only ever have one Class 8 player on the field at any one time. So 20 minutes game time for Jack Rutter. Ollie Nugent will get the last 10. Here he is, a first touch for the teenager. Good one it was too. Porcher, well, he just didn't see the run on the far side. It's Nugent on the ball now. KRASYLNYKOV calmly dispossesses him. Nugent found Ole Len. Well, referee's given it the other way. Porcher for Great Britain. They haven't given up hope yet, by no means. Crossen with Blackwell in support. Nugent was just waiting for the ball inside, but instead it's a one-on-one ROMANCHUK against Irons. And by and large he's defended ROMANCHUK really well. It's not an easy task. Porcher. Out by TRUSHEV. Blackwell's pass to Nugent. Just astray. Well, they lost 2-1 to Brazil in their opening match, Great Britain. They're 2-1 down here to Ukraine. They will tell you that they were unfortunate to be drawn against two teams who might just be the two best in the world in their section in Ukraine and Brazil. Ollie Nugent on the run here. Well, Great Britain are making demands of one another. They're speaking between the players in quite harsh terms. It's a good run by Nugent. Barker wasn't quite able to get onto the loose ball. Six and a half minutes left. Irons with the ball in. CROSSEN. 3 to aim at in the centre here. It fizzed towards Nugent. DUTKO just had to hack it away. Last 6 minutes. That was Blackwell overhitting the pass forward. Here was CROSSEN getting the ball in towards Nugent. SYMASHKO in the Ukraine goal hasn't been troubled on too many occasions, but he's called into action there. Second change for Ukraine. Well, Romanchuk's had a terrific game. I don't really know how he hasn't scored today. He struck the post. Goalkeeper's denied him on a couple of occasions. And his place goes to Stanislav Podolski for the last 5 minutes or so. The tackle by CROSSEN. Barker pulled into the space. This is Nugent looking towards Porcher. Oh, goalkeeper took a risk, SYMASHKO. But he got there first, as he had to. Just looked as the ball was in the air, as if Porcher might have been favourite to get there first. But the Ukraine goalkeeper has got 10 years of international experience. It's a good intervention. If it stays like this, almost certainly Ukraine will be in the semi-finals, and almost certainly Great Britain won't be. They've run Brazil close. They've run Ukraine fairly close. It's close on the score sheet. Ukraine should be further ahead in reality. But a highly competitive Great British side may leave feeling a little hard done to that they've come up against two such good sides in the group stage. They have 4 minutes to try and rescue something from it, to try and take a point at least. There's always the danger of a Ukraine counter-attack. Podolski on the run, KRASYLNYKOV. Irons was showing him onto the left side, quite rightly. Nugent with the turn, Porcher. Well, was there contact from the defender? I think if there had been, the protest from Porcher would have been a little more vociferous than that. He just couldn't quite take it in his stride. Well, there was a knee onto the left leg from TRUSHEV, just as he was attempting to take it down. And the defender did look round in worried fashion. Britain worried at the other end now. Well, they're going for broke, Great Britain. They've got 3 up, and that leaves them vulnerable to the counter-attack. Of course it does. They've got to keep trying. Len for Ukraine. Now MOLODTSOV. Nugent got back. And Nugent off and running again, and KRASYLNYKOV took him down quite deliberately. Referee doing Nugent a favour by telling him to calm down. First yellow card for a Ukraine player today. Nugent coming on late in the day, has dribbled effectively. It's a fairly routine save for Giles Moore at the other end. Here's Len, there are runners here. Len, time the pass to Podolski. Crossen was retreating for Great Britain and may have saved the day. "90 seconds left. Can Great Britain get an equaliser against Ukraine? They want to be involved, Britain, in the playoff for 5th place at the very least. Nugent has turned his man. Now who can he find in the centre? There were 5 blue shirts back there. It had to be precise. Nothing for it but to go long. Schwalo is coming on for Len for the last few seconds. He's done plenty of running in this second half for Len. Seconds remaining, plus some added on time. Marker calling for it, looking for the flick on, seeing if there's going to be a runner behind him. In my irons. Schwalo got there before Porcher. This is all time that Ukraine will take out of the clock. It's a lovely ball first time. And Irons, well, he's moving from one end of the field to the other. He's put in a heck of a shift for Great Britain, the number 2. Been really tested against a terrific Ukrainian team. I don't think they're going to come away with any points, but they'll come away with some credit, that's for sure. Close, but maybe not quite close enough for Great Britain. But for Ukraine, it'll be 6 points out of 6. And the Paralympic title they want to win back. A step closer maybe. Well, that was Barker. A little alarm for SYMASHKO. Well, he's still going strong, Michael Barker, after nearly an hour out there. More than an hour. And the conditions are humid. And it's a big old pitch, especially with no offside. Is there time for one last chance? Schwalo took it down, Podolski. It's a terrific intervention by Giles Moore. He's quick off his line, he's agile. He's made a series of excellent saves today. He's a very good young goalkeeper, just 19. As well as they've played Ukraine, they've not been able to seal the game by moving 2 goals clear at any stage. Is there time for one last chance? Nugent was a little hopeful, wasn't where he was aiming. Stvarlo. Blackwell with the challenge. It's 3-on-3 still here. MOLODTSOV, he's so aware of what's going on around him. It's a terrific turn, he's played just the right pass. KRASYLNYKOV, MOLODTSOV, and more to the rescue again. It hasn't gone out. Still they threaten. Now KRASYLNYKOV again. Well, they still can't make it safe, Ukraine. More excellence from the British goalkeeper. Well, it's over, and Ukraine have the win they deserve. Great Britain gave it everything. Their goalkeeper was magnificent. But the chances are Britain won't be in the semi-finals, and it's more than likely that Ukraine will be as they go in search of a third Paralympic title. They put everything into it, Great Britain. But Ukraine are a slick team. And it's the Ukrainians who have won here by 2-1. Ukraine winners then in pool.